John Geesman on behalf of the Alliance for Nuclear Responsibility. I want to remind us how we got here on this topic, and I understand Dr. Sewell will not be making his presentation until your June meeting.
That's our plan.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
But if you will recall, the way in which this topic came up was the Alliance's outreach coordinator, David Weissman, discovered through Freedom of Information Act materials some emails that Dr. Sewell had sent to the NRC staff in the immediate aftermath of Fukushima. And he was reminding the NRC staff of an earlier report that he had provided. I think it was 2002, 2003, that vintage, and suggesting that they take another look at it. They had sat on it while it was still in draft form and it had never been released to the public. Dr. Sewell also sent an email at that point in time, just post-Fukushima, that having been briefed on PG&E's methodology for their 2010 report, he had even greater concern. So my question for you is whether in your June public meeting you will be asking him to reconcile his earlier draft findings with what he has learned tonight, and also whether you will ask him to reconcile his previously expressed concerns about the 2010 methodology PG&E was using as well, and also to address PG&E's conclusions presented here tonight.
Yes, yes, and yes.
I think that we'll be asking for these things, but I also know from my conversations with Dr. Sewell that I believe this is something that will require additional investigation by multiple experts and further study. And given the implications more broadly for the Central Coast in terms of the need to understand this hazard, I would hope that there's some additional and significant study so that we really, particularly, I think one of the new ingredients that we're looking at is this data from the Bartlett cruise and this record of submarine landslides that have occurred in the last 2 million years off the for over quite some period of time. And that this gives us a better basis for assessing the hazard, but we have to figure out the right way to do it. And Bob and I, in public forum, can argue about whether a Poisson distribution is appropriate. It makes it much easier for me to use my back of my envelope, is all I'll say.
Well, the Bartlett cruise appears to have taken place several decades before Dr. Sewell's earlier.
Oh, no, yeah, it was 1972.
Was that information not available?
It's been available all the time. But in fact, it was, I was looking at, reading the calculations, and I said, I'd like to learn more about these deposits that are in this. And that, so I instigated most of this recent investigation about the Bartlett cruise.
Well, we certainly look forward to your June meeting.
Thank you.
I certainly appreciate Mr. Geesman's comment.
Thank you.
Putting again on the committee's record about the current inquiry.
Thank you.
And I think Mr. Geesman is being very diplomatic and graceful in his remark about the committee should reconcile what has been presented. Let me be more blunt. Our central inquiry is through Mr. David Weissman, Mr. Geesman, and Dr. Butler's effort on FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. We now had a complete, we had the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission release the document which has been completely redacted about 10 years ago. And furthermore, Dr. Sewell's report had some conclusions which state, Dr. Sewell can explain it better than me. My reading of the report is there were conclusions, preliminary as they were, that indicated under certain scenario this facility would be threatened by tsunamis, which is contrary to all the information that this committee has been getting in the past 10 years. So to me, that resolution and reconciliation is central to the committee's inquiry.
Yes.